The laughter hit me before I even stepped into the restaurant. That sharp, confident kind of laugh that doesn't just fill a room, it owns it. I stopped at the entrance, the sound of cutlery clinking and soft jazz blending with her voice. Emily's voice. I spotted her instantly. My wife sat at the far end of the table, her golden hair catching the glow from the overhead lamps. She was surrounded by her coworkers, the high-end architecture firm she'd joined 6 months ago, all dressed like they just walked out of a magazine shoot. And right beside her was Daniel Foster, the creative director she'd spoken about so many times. Her hand rested lightly on his forearm as she leaned in to whisper something, and he laughed, deep, rich, effortless. I froze mid-step. It wasn't the laughter that cut into me. It was what she said right before it. "Don't worry, Daniel," she grinned, her voice just loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear. "My husband's harmless. He still thinks sarcasm is a love language. He's basically a golden retriever with bills." The table erupted in laughter. Even Daniel threw his head back, amused. Something inside me fractured. For a second, I stood there in that restaurant doorway like a ghost, invisible to the woman who'd once called me her safe place. The people near the door turned, sensing something awkward in my stillness, but no one said a word. My body moved before my mind caught up. "Emily," I said. Her laughter faltered. She turned, her eyes widening as she saw me. The smile fell from her face, so suddenly it looked rehearsed. "Oh my God, Aaron, what are you doing here?" The room quieted. Even Daniel's grin faded, confusion flickering across his face. "You forgot your wallet," I said, my voice steady though my hands trembled. "You left it in the car." I set it down on the edge of the table, but my eyes never left hers. Her coworkers shifted uncomfortably. Emily forced a smile. "That was so sweet of you, but you really didn't have to." "I heard what you said." The words landed like a stone dropped into still water. The silence rippled outward. Her eyes darted toward Daniel, then back to me. "Aaron, it was a joke." "Come on." Daniel chuckled, trying to ease the tension. "Hey man, don't take it personally. We all tease each other here. Office banter." But my gaze stayed fixed on Emily. "You laughed like you meant it." Her face stiffened, her charm unraveling under the weight of my stare. "Aaron, this isn't the place." "Maybe not," I said quietly, "but you made me the punchline in front of your boss. So I guess the place doesn't matter anymore, does it?" For a long second, no one spoke. The faint music filled the silence again, like background noise to humiliation. I turned and walked out before anyone could say another word. Outside, the night air hit me cold and sharp. I stood on the curb, the scent of rain mixing with exhaust fumes, and for the first time in years, I realized how far she drifted from me. On the drive home, my hands clenched the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Images flashed in my head. Her laughter, her hand on his arm, the look in her eyes when she realized I'd heard her. It wasn't embarrassment I saw. It was irritation. By the time I got home, the anger had simmered into something heavier. A hollow ache sat behind my ribs. I poured myself a drink and stared at the wall. The house felt different, like everything inside it belonged to two strangers pretending they were still in love. Emily came home an hour later. The door creaked open, her heels clicking softly against the floor. She stopped when she saw me sitting in the living room, drink in hand. "Aaron," she began carefully, "you completely overreacted tonight." I almost laughed. "Overreacted? You humiliated me." "It was a stupid joke," she said, dropping her bag on the counter. "Everyone laughs at work. It's part of the culture. You're reading way too much into it." I stood. "Emily, that wasn't a joke. That was you trying to impress your boss at my expense." Her eyes flashed. "Oh, please. Not everything revolves around you. Daniel's a big deal at the firm, and I just wanted to fit in. You think I enjoyed making you look small? You don't get how that world works." I stared at her, disbelief tightening in my chest. "You want to fit in so badly you forgot who you were with." She rolled her eyes. "You always twist things into some kind of moral failure. It's exhausting." The words landed harder than I expected. For a moment, I didn't recognize her. This woman who once couldn't stop telling me how proud she was of the life we'd built together, now looked at me like I was something she'd outgrown. "Emily," I said quietly, Are you happy with him? Her expression flickered, just for a moment. A shadow of guilt passed through her eyes, so quick I might have imagined it. What? Don't be ridiculous. But something inside me already knew. Over the next few days, something between us changed. Emily was distant, preoccupied. She started coming home later, saying she had client dinners or late presentations. Her phone was always face down, her laughter quieter when she texted. I tried to convince myself it was nothing. I tried to believe that I was just paranoid because of that dinner. But paranoia has a strange way of whispering truth through the cracks. One evening, I heard her in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the counter, and I told myself not to look. I really did. But when I saw the notification flash across the screen, Daniel, can't stop thinking about you tonight. Something in me broke. I opened the message thread. There it was. Days of messages, late night jokes, inside references, and one message from her just 2 nights ago. You make me feel alive again. Alive again. I sank onto the edge of the bed, the phone heavy in my hand, my breath caught between disbelief and nausea. The shower stopped. I dropped the phone back onto the counter and backed away as she stepped out wrapped in a towel. Her eyes went straight to the phone, then to me. You looked, didn't you? She asked quietly. I didn't answer. She exhaled, shaking her head. I was going to tell you. It wasn't supposed to. To what? My voice cracked. To happen? Or to be caught? Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't move toward me. Daniel makes me feel seen, Aaron. You've been distant for years. I tried to tell you, but you never listened. I stared at her, my chest burning. You mean you tried to replace me instead of talking to me? Her lip trembled. I didn't plan this. Neither did I whispered. But I guess that doesn't matter. The clock ticked between us, mocking the silence. Finally, she said, What are you going to do? I looked at her for a long time, and then, calmly, almost eerily so, I smiled. You'll see. Her brows furrowed. What does that mean? But I didn't answer. I picked up my coat and walked out of the house. The night swallowed me whole, and for the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt focused. Whatever she expected me to do next, she was not ready for it. That night, I sat in the car outside her firm's office building. It was nearly midnight, the lobby lights still glowing. I wasn't there to yell or fight. I wasn't even there to see her. I was there to understand what I'd missed all along. And as I watched Daniel walk out of the building, phone in hand, smiling as if the world owed him nothing but adoration, something inside me settled. This wasn't about revenge. It was about truth, about watching the illusion burn until only reality remained. I didn't know how I'd confront her yet. But when I did, everyone, her, Daniel, their world of jokes and lies, would see who the real fool had been. And it wasn't me. The next few days passed in silence. Emily moved around the house like a ghost, careful not to touch anything that might shatter the fragile distance between us. She cooked without tasting, spoke without meaning, smiled without warmth. Every moment felt suspended in that awful limbo between truth and consequence. I didn't confront her again. I didn't yell, accuse, or ask questions. I simply watched, and she hated it. Her guilt had no target to fight back against, no words to deflect. It gnawed at her in the quiet. On Thursday morning, I packed her favorite coffee mug into a box. She noticed it missing later that evening, her voice sharp with confusion. Where's my mug? I put it away, I said, not looking up from my laptop. Why? Because I don't need reminders of someone I don't recognize anymore. She stood there, stunned, lips parting slightly, and for the first time, I saw fear flicker in her eyes, not of me, but of what she had become. Friday came, and with it, the firm's annual dinner gala, an event Emily had been preparing for all month. When she mentioned it that morning, her tone was cautious. I have to go, she said softly. It's mandatory. Daniel will be there. Of course, I said. He wouldn't want his favorite employee missing out. She looked at me, trying to read whether it was sarcasm or surrender. You're not coming, are you? I wouldn't miss it. Her face blanched. Aaron, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm your husband, remember? I said, a faint smile curving my lips. Wouldn't want your boss thinking I don't support you. She didn't respond, just turned away, biting her lip until it almost bled. The hotel ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and the hum of polite laughter. Waiters glided between tables carrying glasses of champagne. I wore my charcoal suit, pressed and clean, the same one from our wedding rehearsal dinner. A small act of irony that only I would notice. Emily looked beautiful. Too beautiful. Her silver dress caught the light like moonlight on water. But beneath her polished smile, I could see the fracture lines, tiny cracks of guilt running beneath the surface of her composure. Daniel found her immediately. He approached with that easy confidence of a man used to being admired. His hand brushed her waist in a gesture too familiar for public eyes. I watched, calmly. When she spotted me across the room, her expression faltered. She whispered something to Daniel, but I couldn't hear it. He turned toward me and smiled, a smile that carried both charm and quiet mockery. I raised my glass in a slow, deliberate toast. That's when the night began to unravel. Dinner was served. Speeches were made. Toasts echoed through the hall. Emily sat 2 tables away, laughing too loudly, drinking too fast. Daniel leaned in close every time she spoke, his hand occasionally resting on her shoulder. I waited. When the firm's director finished his closing remarks and applause filled the room, I rose. "If I may," I said, my voice cutting cleanly through the noise. Dozens of eyes turned toward me. Emily froze. "I know I'm not part of this wonderful company," I began, stepping toward their table, "but I think I owe everyone here an apology." A ripple of confusion spread. Daniel frowned. "Apology?" "Yes," I said, my tone perfectly calm. "For interrupting your dinner the other night." Emily's breath caught. Her knuckles whitened around her glass. "I didn't realize then," I continued, "that my wife's humor was part of her professional charm. You know, the kind that wins over bosses." The air tightened. No one moved. "Emily," I said, turning to her, "why don't you tell everyone that joke again? The one about me being a golden retriever." Her eyes widened in horror. "Aaron, stop." "No." I tilted my head. "All right. Maybe I should tell a joke then." I took out my phone, unlocked it, and set it on the table in front of Daniel. Knock, knock. Daniel stared at me, confusion shifting to unease. "Go on," I said. "Say, who's there?" He didn't, but I didn't need him to. I tapped the screen once, and the phone lit up, revealing a series of screenshots. Messages. His messages. The ones I'd sent to my email the night I discovered them. The table went silent. Around us, whispers spread like wildfire. I scrolled through the text with quiet precision, reading aloud. "Daniel, you taste like sin." "Emily, stop, we're at work. Someone might see." "Daniel, that's half the fun." "Emily, you're terrible." "Daniel, you love it." A gasp escaped from someone nearby. Emily's face drained of color. Daniel sat stiff, the charming smirk gone. I looked at Emily then, not with hatred, but with something far worse. Pity. "You said he made you feel seen. Is this what you wanted him to see?" She whispered, "Please not here." "I didn't choose the place," I said quietly. "You did. When you made me a joke, when you laughed with him, when you let him think I was harmless." I turned to Daniel. "You're her boss. Married, aren't you?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "You don't know what you're talking about." I smiled faintly. "I know everything now." Then I walked out. No shouting, no threats, just the quiet sound of truth settling into every corner of that glittering room. I didn't go home that night. I drove for hours, the city lights fading into open highway. I thought about the years Emily and I had shared, the nights we fell asleep planning futures that never came, the laughter that used to mean something. By dawn, I was parked by the beach, waves crashing in slow rhythm. The horizon glowed faint pink, soft and cruel. My phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls, messages, apologies. I didn't read them. Sometimes silence is the only language left for the betrayed. It took 3 days before she showed up at my sister's house, where I'd been staying. Her face looked hollow, her eyes swollen from crying. She stood on the porch, trembling. "I lost my job," she said quietly. "Daniel's wife found out. The firm suspended both of us." I nodded. "I didn't come to ask for forgiveness," she continued. "I came to say I'm sorry. I don't even know who I became trying to prove I was someone else." The wind blew her hair across her face, and for a brief moment, I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with years ago, the one who used to laugh without cruelty, who'd believed in us before ambition hollowed her out. I loved you, I said softly. I still. No, I interrupted. You love who you were with him, not me, and that's okay. But I can't build a life on the ruins of something you set on fire. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Aaron, please. Emily, I said, my voice steady. You taught me something I'll never forget. When someone laughs at you, they're showing you exactly where you stand in their world. I just never thought I'd learn that lesson from the person I trusted most. She stepped closer, but I didn't move. Finally, she whispered, "What are you going to do now?" I looked past her toward the open sky where the sun had just begun to rise. I'm going to stop being harmless. 6 months later, I stood on a small stage in a downtown cafe, microphone in hand. The place was packed, half with strangers, half with familiar faces. I was there for an open mic storytelling night. When it was my turn, I told the crowd a story. Not about infidelity, not about revenge, but about rediscovery. About how sometimes love dies quietly, replaced by the illusion of something shinier, and how the real strength isn't in holding on, but in walking away without hate. People listened. Some cried. Some clapped softly. And when I finished, I smiled, not the polite, restrained kind, but one that reached all the way to my heart. Because somewhere between humiliation and healing, I'd found something Emily and Daniel never would. Peace. That night, as I walked out of the cafe, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You really shocked everyone that night. I deserved it. I hope you're happy now. I stared at it for a long moment before replying. Not happy. Just free. Then I deleted her number and kept walking into the night, the city lights reflecting against the quiet satisfaction of a man who finally reclaimed his dignity.